All right, so for this project, I'm going to use different columns and stuff because I don't want to do the project for you, of course. Um, not going to be that nice, right? But if you want to do the descriptive statistics stuff, remember we're doing proportions, okay? And on the second tab, you'll see you've got places to fill all that stuff out, okay? So I'm just going to do nausea instead of headache or whatnot. So if I want to know the proportions for nausea, because I've got to do multiple things with like multiple columns and stuff in here, first I would highlight the first row, go to data and click filter. I'm just going to go over to the end for some reason. What that's going to do is going to make these little drop down boxes, and then you can sort between male, female, sport, age, whatever you need to, whatever column you need to sort by. So for the first one, we want to look at people experiencing a headache, multiple systems, whether they have a previous concussion or not. Okay, so since I'm going to group them by whether they have concussion or not, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sort by that. So all the zeros in this column have not had a concussion. So if I want to know the proportion, I'm going to highlight all the people with nausea, that column, and I'm just going to go down until I get to the last zero, okay, in the concussion column. So that's the first 49 people. So down here I see there's 4 out of 49 that did not have a concussion, but then had nausea, so no previous concussion. I'm going to put equals 4 divided by 49, and that's going to give you your proportion for that. Now the people that did have a concussion, I'll start here where the first one is for the concussion column, but I'm highlighting the stuff in nausea because that's what I'm interested in, all right? So for that one, there is 9 that had a concussion in a total of 106. So here I can stick something like equals 9 divided by 106. And then for the overall, well, I can just add stuff up because there were 4 here, so that's a total of 13, and there's a total of 154. And I have to put the equal sign, or it's not going to work out right. And look at that. The sample sizes, you just want to count. How many people didn't have a concussion? How many people did? I mean, you just highlight, and it will say the count here. Don't worry about the sum on that. Just look at the count. Highlight all of them had concussions. Highlight all of them that had whatever. Okay. The sample means, so this is split up between the male and female. So what I would do is I would sort via the sex column. Say, okay, well, if I want the mean, whatever column I need, I'll highlight that for all of the females. So for all of the females, down here at the bottom again, my average is given to me with 0.128. I'm going to highlight all of the males to get the other group. And the average 0.039. So I could go and fill in what the sample means were for male, female, and then do all of them. Sample sizes are just how many there are of each, right? Now for the confidence interval, okay, so I'm going to do a confidence interval for the nausea. Okay. So for a confidence interval, we do need the standard deviation. Okay. So down at the bottom of that column, I'm just going to go ahead and do the standard deviation. So I'm going to use Excel to do that. So I would go to Formula, go to More Functions, Statistical, and go down to Standard Deviation. So that's the STDEV.P, okay? And we just want to highlight which is. Now, if you'll notice, it's already using the column that's up above it, which is fine. If you put it right in the next one, it'll automatically do that. We'll click OK, and we get our standard deviation. Okay? Now, to do the confidence interval, it's going to ask, what the point estimate is. So that's whatever the mean is. So let's do the right thing for nausea. So the mean for nausea is 0.0844. So I'm going to put that in here, 0.0844. The margin of error is what Excel is going to give you when we do the confidence interval, okay? More functions, statistical, we want to go to confidence.norm. Let's go ahead and do that. Put in our alpha level. Well, it's a 95% confidence interval, so alpha is 0.05. The standard deviation, what was that? 0.27801. Okay, and the sample size is 154. And it gives us that output is the margin of error, 0.0439. 0.0439. Now, if I want the lower end of my interval, I'm just going to go equals the point estimate minus the margin of error. Just like we do in class, right? The upper end is equal to the point estimate plus the margin of error. And then there's our confidence interval from 0.045 to 0.128. To do the two sample hypothesis testing, so I'm going to split this between male and female. Okay. So the two sample hypothesis testing, you're going to go to more functions, statistical. No, sorry. Before you do anything, click on data. And if you do not have data analysis, okay, go to File, down to Options, Add-ins, look for the one that says Analysis Tool Pack. Click on that, not Analysis Tool Pack VBA, but Analysis Tool Pack. Click Go, check mark the Analysis Tool Pack. Click OK. Then this should show up. Okay? We're going to go down and use the t-test 2 sample assuming unequal variances. Okay? I'm going to click OK, and then you need to highlight whatever your first thing is. So I'm going to have my first variable be the women. Okay? So I'm going to highlight whatever it is with the women that I need. So I'm doing concussions at the moment, I guess. And then for the second one, since I'm going to sort by men, so we're going to go to the men here, highlight all of them. The hypothesis difference is 0, because we always, remember we're looking at differences, the null hypothesis is always that they're the same, so there is no difference. Now for output range, I want to pop up on the same page. I'm going to put in like G134, and it'll come up here where it's already kind of on the screen. Click OK. And let me expand these rows, drag these rows a little bit bigger so I can read them. You can see we have our test statistic, a one-sided p-value, the two-tailed p-value. Okay. If it's a two-tailed t-value, there's a different critical t-score. Okay. So that gives you the information to put into here. Okay. So hopefully this helps. Oh, wait a minute, we got one more to do, right? The other one test. Now for the one test one, the one sample, we're just looking at the proportions of stuff, right? Okay. Is it different than what the study claimed? Okay, so let's say our claim is that it's 0.3. And let's say nausea. I already found the average for that, but I don't remember what it was, so let me just... Oh, but let's see, we want the proportion of people, so that's 13 out of the 154, which we knew was up here. 0.0844. It's already had that. The claim was 0.3, the sample 0.0844. I'm just keeping track of the stuff that I need. Okay. Now we need to figure out what the standard error is, and so that's just going to equal. Now remember, standard error is square root of the proportion from your null hypothesis, which is that it's 0.3. 0.3 times 1 minus that divided by the sample size. So that's my standard error. Now, to find the p-value, well, I need my z-score, right? So let me mark the standard error, z-score. Okay. The z-score is equal to, remember the sample, 0.0844 minus the mean, 0.3. I forgot to put parentheses around it. Put parentheses around it because we have to divide by the standard error. Divided by, and I'm just going to click on that cell where I input the standard error. So there's my z-score. To get the p-value, you're going to go back to formulas, more functions, statistics, and then you're going to go all the way down here to where you have norm.s.dist. Okay, that's our standard normal distribution. Click on that. It's going to ask what the z is. Okay, you can click in on that value, and the cumulative you're going to type in true. Okay, that's going to give you the less than, just like it with our tables. Click OK. So our p-value is 0.0000263. Really, really super small, right? Okay, but that number is going to be the p-value. All right, so this should take care of all of it. I hope it helps a little bit. Please let me know if you need something else, okay?